So one of the biggest shocks for condo buyers in Myrtle Beach is the HOA fee. I'll show you a condo and the buyers immediately go, wait, how much is it per month? But in actuality, sometimes the number makes sense and sometimes it doesn't. So let's talk about what buyers are actually paying for when it comes to HOA fees in Myrtle Beach, especially with oceanfront condos. I'm Lori Lee Mendietto with Century 21, the Harrelson Group, and I work with condo buyers across the Grand Strand every single day. And one thing I see all the time is buyers reacting to the HOA fee before understanding the structure behind it, which it actually really does make a lot of sense because some of these numbers are high, but not all HOA fees mean the same thing, and not all condos operate the same way. That's where the buyers usually get caught off guard. A lot of buyers come from areas where HOA fees might be $100, $200, and maybe even $300. Then they start looking at oceanfront condos here and suddenly see $800, $900, $1,200, or even sometimes more. And the immediate reaction is, that seems really insane. But when buyers often don't realize is that condos ownership is structured differently than owning a house. Because with the condo, you're not just maintaining your unit. In many condo buildings, the HOA may be responsible for things like the roof, the elevators, pools, parking decks, the exterior of the building itself, all the landscaping around the building and all the common areas. And often, a lot of these condos, they're holding the master policy for the building. So part of what buyers are reacting to are expenses they may otherwise be paying separately with a single family home. And this is where things starts to vary building by building, because two condos can have similar HOA fees, but function very differently. Some buildings may include water and sewer, maybe even the cable and internet, pest control, exterior insurance, all the amenities, the restaurants, the pools, and all the maintenance staff, and others may not. And buyers sometimes often compare HOA numbers without comparing what's actually included in those numbers. That's where it can get misleading. Oceanfront ownership also comes with different level of maintenance. Salt air is hard on buildings, and that's just reality. Railings wear faster, exterior materials break down faster, elevators work much harder, balconies take more exposure, and insurance plays a huge role in that too. So a lot of buyers don't realize how much insurance impacts oceanfront condos until they start comparing buildings side by side. So when buyers see a higher HOA for oceanfront condo, part of that can simply be the cost of maintaining a large building near the ocean. This is probably one of the biggest misunderstandings I see. Buyers naturally assume lower HOA must be better, and that's not necessarily the case. In some cases, usually low HOA fees may raise questions, particularly about reserve funding, future maintenance planning, or even the expenses and how they're managed long-term. Now, obviously, every building is very different, okay? But this is why looking at the fee alone doesn't tell the whole story. Reviewing the financial structure and overall condition of the building is an important step of condo due diligence. So instead of just asking how much is the HOA, the better question is, what does the HOA structure actually look like, right? Because buyers should really pay attention to things like reserve funding, pending assessments, maintenance history, insurance structure, rental rules, litigation, and overall building condition. This is where condos usually become very building specific. Two buildings next to each other may operate very differently financially and structurally. This is something I see all the time during showings. Buyers initially focus on the HOA number, but once they start understanding what's included, what maintenance they may not personally handle, how the building operates, and what that ownership experience may realistically look like, the conversation usually changes. Not always, but often, because now we're evaluating the full ownership picture, not just reacting to one number online. So the goal usually isn't finding the cheapest HOA. The goal is understanding how the building is managed and how well it appears to be maintained, what ownership may realistically look like, and whether the structure aligns with how you plan to use the property long-term. Because those are things buyers tend to care about long after they close. So when it comes to HOA fees in Myrtle Beach condos, the number alone rarely tells the whole entire picture, the whole story. Understanding the building behind the fee, that's the part that matters the most. So if you're starting to explore condos here in Myrtle Beach, whether that's oceanfront, second home, or investment property, I'm happy to help you break down the differences between buildings and ownership structures before you make a decision. So thanks for watching another episode of The Logic Behind the Lifestyle. I'm Lori Lee Mendietto with Century 21, the Harrelson Group. I'll see you next time.